So, process modeling. I think, like many, it was the start of my life in BPM world. Because 18 years ago, I started working at a Dutch company called Palisatina, which was a vendor of BPM software. And I started there as a trainer, and I trained our customers on a process modeling tool called Protos those days. Later on, it was renamed to BPM1 when it became a more complete BPM suite. But at least my start in BPM world was being a trainer for the process modeling tool BPM1. And at that time, that was quite a complete tool. You could model a lot of aspects of a process in here. So you can see here the so-called objects palette with all the possible objects you could model. And most of our customers started with modeling the workflow. So I was a great fan of the status object because that's to me what a process is about. You want to reach certain milestones. Process is a means to reach a certain result, and with those milestones, with those statuses, you could make those more explicit, and later on you could think about the activities that get you there. Also, things like data could be modeled and added to the workflow. Here it's on high level. You could see that, okay, we need some kind of documents, but you could go as deep as data elements, which could be the address or the name of a customer or a certain amount. So that's depending on your goal. And you could also add things like system and tools used to execute a process. Also, executors could be added, who is doing what, as you can see here in a more or less swim lane view. And you could go as deep as adding working instructions for activities to help people execute the process. But what really was appreciated by our customers was the way how you could communicate about your process models. You could make Word documents, but at that time really fancy was the possibility to create HTML pages out of it, which could be uploaded to your intranet, and then it could serve as some kind of digital process manual where people could find the process information they need. So yeah, as a trainer, I trained a lot of people on using these tools. First, I was just what I call a button explainer. This is how it works. Later on, I improved in being a trainer, and I started most of my training with trying to understand why do want people use these kind of tools? Why do they want to make process models? So that's what I always asked to understand why they were in my classroom. And then in general, I got 4 answers. We want to make working instructions. We want to use it for compliancy. Most heard we want to improve our processes. And some even wanted to develop a process-based, hopefully process-based application. So working instructions, we all know that's not really a process. Like for example, you could model that the work a waitress needs to do or what a chef needs to do, and these could serve as working instructions, but it's not a process. And so all together they might become a little thing that looks like a process, but this is really small, focused on one one role, one position, one person, and but yeah, our customers used it for it and they liked it. Nowadays, I don't think process models are the best way to for working instructions. I think things like making little movies or even augmented reality might be the future for working instructions. But okay, it's still done, and our customers used it a lot. Other goal I heard a lot was compliancy. We have to comply with some kind of rules or requirements coming from a law or ISO or something like that. And what you see here is that you could indicate that pizzas should be more than 78 degrees at delivery. That's a requirement. Then you could specify that it is done by the step measure temperature, and yeah, of course this is only in a model. In real life you have to audit it or check it and see if it's really done, but at least it was a start to cope with compliance issues. Another thing, and nowadays it's quite common, but at those days it was quite new, is that you use the model to finally build an application. Here you see very basic the end result of it. You see the process steps, and you see an indicator what step needs to be done for the case at hand. And now you see this is probably a new case because the first step, register as application, needs to be done. And then the real work was done on forms. We were mainly focused on administrative processes. So yeah, then the work was all kind of collecting data and entering them on forms. And this was all based on a process model, like the step register application, and in the design tool we could add things like data, like for example name and the date of birth, that finally became the fields on the form to execute the process. So nowadays very common, at those days quite fancy, and even our customers used it to build their own little process applications. But the goal I heard the most was process improvement. I want to use my models to improve my processes. And this is not Protos, this is some kind of BPMN and probably not compliant with the rules, but that doesn't matter. The question is, does this model help you to understand if this is a good process or not? And that's what this whole series is about. And when I was thinking about this and I reviewed the goals, then I suddenly realized that actually when you take a look at these goals, then using a process model is, in, for example, working instruction, is the solution. The problem is my employees don't know what to do, and then the model is used as a solution. Same for compliancy. The model is used as a solution to say this is how we are compliant. Same for developing an application. With the model you build a solution. But that's a little different with process improvement. Then you don't have a solution, you have a problem. And that's the big difference, I think. So I was more and more doubting, do process models really help me to improve my processes? And so because process improvement, hopefully you're executing your processes, and that's hopefully based on a design, and then you have maybe thought about the process result and the process goals and some KPIs, and then maybe you measure that, and when the result is this is not what we expected, then it's maybe time to analyze the process and then hopefully redesign it, find your problems, find the causes, and then change the things that need to be changed. Plan, do, check, act, what we've seen a lot. And for analyzing and improving the process, still a lot of process models are used. But during the days I started wondering, can you really find the causes of bad process performance with the process model? Of course, when you model processes together, you get the common things like we have understanding each other, we can make agreements, we learn from each other, all good. But really understanding why a process doesn't perform, I'm not sure if a process model helps you with that. And that's what we're going to explore in this video series. And for that, I want to walk you through what I see as the usual backdrafts of process models. One of them is that very good to make it understandable that a process is often modeled with one case in mind. And this is how we deliver a pizza, but in real life, of course, many cases flow through the process. In a lot of processes, roles are modeled. Who is doing what? And of course, to make it clean, to make it understandable, it's only modeled once. But in real life, one role can be played by more than one person. So that's very hard to express in a process model, but can be a real cause for bad process performance. Same for supplies. You could say we need a machine here, but the real availability of the machine is hard to express in a model, but can cause big problems in real life. And so, those kind of things is what I kind of discuss and why they are hard to see in a process model. And watch out, bad joke alarm. Executors in the process models are like players in the movies. They don't go to the toilet. So that's what I all mean with what I often call the dynamics of execution. All these dynamics which happen in real life and make a process perform badly, it's hard to see them in a process model. So that's what we're going to discuss in the next videos. And I'll start with the fact that in real life many cases flow through a process, but in a model it's often modeled for one case. And does that help? We'll see in the next video where we talk about cases versus process models.